people? It is Wednesday, February 21st, and I am here with your geopolitical news. Right now, I'm on the X platform, and I'm on Tucker Carlson's page. Tucker Carlson makes a post, and it's a video that's attached to the post, and I'm going to play the video, but first, I'm going to read the post. As they lecture us endlessly about human rights in other countries, the Biden administration is trying to kill journalist Julian Assange for the crime of embarrassing the CIA. His wife Stella joins us from his extradition hearing. So now I'm going to play this video, right? And the reason why I'm playing this is because once again, this is an issue that hits rather close because I am in this space right now, and I can only imagine that I'm probably saying some things that are rubbing the wrong people the wrong way. You understand? And so that's the reason why I'm bringing this story to light, because if the United States government, if the military industrial complex can do things like this, the CIA, the FBI, if they can do such things, then who is safe?
Julian Assange has been locked away in one place or another for more than a decade. Julian Assange is so despised by elements within the permanent U.S. government that at one point, CIA Director Mike Pompeo discussed murdering him in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where he was seeking asylum.
So upset that they discussed actually killing him, actually murdering him. This is the tactics that is used by the government that you and I live in a country that we call home. This is the government that we are being governed by, and these are the tactics. And so this individual, I believe, became privy to some information, to information that was linked on the world famous conspiracy website WikiLeaks. And so this individual publishes the information that he receives.
Mike Pompeo has never been charged for that, which is a crime. Unelected bureaucrats can't just murder people they don't like. And he probably never will be charged with the crime. Virtually the entire ruling class in Washington is opposed to Julian Assange, and that's the reason that he has sat for years now in Belmarsh prison in London. Keep in mind, Julian Assange has not been charged with a crime in Great Britain, and yet he's being held there. So this fall, we went to Belmarsh and we asked Julian Assange, why do you think you're being held as the most wanted man in America without ever being charged with a real crime? Here's what he told us. We talked about why he is in prison, and my first question to him was, what do you think this is actually about, since you haven't been accused of a crime? And he said something that really struck me, and I think having spent my life in Washington is absolutely right. He said he first became famous when WikiLeaks published documents and videos that the U.S. government had kept secret from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. They were gravely embarrassing to the Pentagon. But that wasn't the red line. The red line was several years later when WikiLeaks published information about surveillance by the CIA. And so I asked him directly, are you aware of anyone being harmed or killed on the basis of information he published? He said, of course not. And he said it in a sincere way. Like, by the way, I think if people were killed because of his publishing, because of the stories that he put online, he would feel bad about it. Seems like a humane person. He withheld information about CIA because he didn't want to get people hurt. He famously published the contents of Hillary Clinton's email account. I asked him, when you publish...
Okay, so correction. I guess he received emails or parts of emails from Hillary Clinton's account. And so those emails is what he published. Now, you know, I don't really know what to say about that. I mean, it is an invasion of privacy to a certain extent, but I don't believe that you afford that privacy when you are a member of the government. I believe that when you become a member of the government in any way, shape, form, or fashion, whether that be um, whether you are police or anything, whether you hold office or you work in a court bill, whatever it is that you do, I believe that you are open for scrutiny in every aspect of your life. And maybe that seems a bit much, but you are taking on a huge responsibility. And so on one hand, I felt like maybe that was an invasion of privacy, but on another hand, I felt like, well, you're somebody who is not just a public figure, but you are a part of um you're a part of this thing we call Congress. You're a part of this thing we call the government. And so you very well should have everything be open to the public. Nothing should be exempt because you are somebody who has been given a higher authority. And so you have a higher responsibility that comes with that higher authority.
Most of these emails, did you realize how powerful Hillary Clinton was? We had a conversation about that, and I said, looking back, do you regret doing that? He goes, honestly, it was fun. You'll notice that Julian Assange was not in that clip. That was a recap of our conversation with Julian Assange, and the reason we did that was they wouldn't allow us to interview him on camera. So not only are they holding him, they hope until he dies in a maximum security prison, but they're also preventing him from telling his own story to.
So they're holding him in a maximum security prison in another country, and they've been holding him there for at least 5 years. And they're holding him there. The United States has already made a request for extradition, and he's supposed to be extradited to the United States of America, but he hasn't been thus far. So there's no charges. I don't believe there's any charges at this point. So this individual is just being held against their will at this point. And you're going to see, because, when I bring these stories to you guys, I always watch the content before I put the content up. But you're going to see his wife basically explain how they're playing a game between the two countries because there's questions that need to be answered, and they're giving this woman the runaround about who is to answer these questions. One country is saying it's the other country who needs to answer these questions, and vice versa. And so, what is this lady supposed to do? What is this wife supposed to do?
The world. All of this is a crime. Every person running for president of the United States should be forced to answer the question, will you pardon Julian Assange if he ever winds up on American soil? So far, no one has been forced to answer that question. We hope that will change. The woman you saw in the clip is Julian Assange's wife, Stella. She has been his greatest advocate in the free world, and she is now leading the effort to stop his extradition to the United States, where he would wind up in a supermax prison, never be heard from again until he dies. She is a lawyer, a human rights activist, and we're honored to have her join us now. Stella Assange, thank you so much for coming on. Can you give us an update, because I know this is taking place right now, it's in progress currently, what the status of this extradition hearing is?
Well, look, we've just been in court for 2 days, and this decision could be the final one. We didn't know when we were coming into it yesterday whether we would have a decision today. And if the UK decides in favor of the US, then it will put Julian on a plane to the US. I mean, that is how imminent it is. So really, it's a very, very high risk moment for Julian, and what happened during these 2 days is that the two judges said that they would withhold their decision.
Another point that I have to add is, you know, as I'm covering this story, this lady's husband, who released or published the emails that he received that he knew very well was Hillary Clinton's emails. There's a level of accountability that you have to have when you very well know that you're doing something that could land you God knows where. Especially when you're doing something that you very well know can be very problematic for you, your family, can land you. Like I said, you don't have an idea or a clue how much trouble you're in until you're actually in it. And so these are the questions that I have to ask myself as I am covering these geopolitical news and current events. As I am covering these topics, I have to ask myself this very same question. If you receive anything of news, information that might be discrediting, might be of a criminal nature in describing someone who is in a position of power, what do you do with it? Do you release it very well knowing that you could be putting your life in danger, your family's life in danger? And do you complain about it when you're in the situation that you're in, very well knowing that before you press that button, you had to make a conscious decision? A conscious decision that says, you know what? I am going to stand on the side of righteousness. I'm going to stand on the side of good. And I'm going to put this information out there no matter the cost. Well, that cost might very well be your freedom. That cost might very well be your life.
Until, well, they haven't set a date, but at least a week. And so we don't know what will happen next. It remains the case that if he loses this round, then that's it in the UK. There's no further possibility for appeal. He can try to go to the European Court of Human Rights, but last year, only one application to the European Court of Human Rights to stop an extradition or deportation was granted out of 63 applications. So it's really just in extremely rare cases. Of course, we
basically saying that it's damn near impossible. It's outright impossible. If only one application is granted out of 63 applications, then that means that it's next to impossible. And you know, I feel sad for her. I feel sad for her. I almost feel bad for her husband, but I believe that he understood. I believe that he very well understood exactly what he was doing. Now, I don't know if his wife understood the ramifications of what he was doing. I don't know if she understood the full scope of what he was doing. But I'm almost certain that he did. And if he didn't, then this right here is the ultimate learning lesson. And hopefully it does not cost this man his life. Geopolitical News. I'm on a YouTube platform on CNN's channel. And as you can see from the title, Israeli soldier records himself blowing up a mosque. Now, this video, for most of you, is going to be a very disturbing video. For some of you, you'll probably like what you're seeing, and that speaks to the evil nature of your soul. But for most of you, this is going to be a very disturbing video. Inside this video, what you're going to see is the celebration of death, the celebration of children, women, men, elderly, the celebration of schools, hospitals, mosques, religious buildings, etc., being totally destroyed. And you're going to see Israeli soldiers celebrating this in many different facets. Everything from wedding proposals to just a mockery is what you're going to see in this video. So now I warn some of you, if you do not wish to see this content, please, you know, fast forward through this, skip ahead, and you don't have to see these graphic images.
Inside Israel, people are seeing a very different picture of the war from the rest of the world, from what you've just heard, with IDF soldiers documenting their military offensive in real time. Correspondent Jeremy Diamond reports on this trend unfolding on social media. This is a how-to video on how to blow up a mosque in Gaza. The format is internet fluent. The content is very real, filmed, edited, and posted on Instagram by an Israeli soldier. It's one of dozens reviewed by CNN. For many in 2024, social media is everyday life. Israeli soldiers are no different, except for fighting Israel's largest and most brutal war in decades. In video after video after video, soldiers document the destruction of Gaza and rejoice. They film detonations to use as wedding invitations. Among them are would-be comedians, whose videos satirizing the war show the devastation in Gaza. Soldiers have always documented themselves. It could be in journals, it could be with taking pictures. Avner Dvaryahu served in the IDF during the Second Intifada. He leads the group Breaking the Silence, which encourages soldiers to speak out about the realities of occupation. Even if we do find, the why we went to this war important, significant, and a necessity, we have to ask ourselves how we're conducting ourselves in wartime. The videos often end up on the social media channels of right-wing political commentators. They boast to the Israeli public of the tactics used to defend them. The IDF told CNN that it has acted and continues to act to identify unusual cases that deviate from what is expected of IDF soldiers. Those cases will be arbitrated, and significant command measures will be taken against the soldiers involved. Images from Gaza of Israel's war-injured are rare on Israeli television. They're there on TikTok. The overarching theme is that, we're here, we're going to win, we're powerful enough. And I think that what these soldiers are doing, all these clips that we see on social media, is part of an attempt to regain sense of agency, regain sense of power, regain, the sense of positive self-image, the way we thought about ourselves before October 7th. At times, they openly defy their military's message about protecting civilians and film themselves destroying civilian shops. Israel is under increasing scrutiny over the war in Gaza. These videos may well be adding fuel to that criticism. Just into CNN, the IDF says it's detained more than 20 people suspected of taking part in the October 7th attacks. As its raid of the largest functioning hospital in Gaza continues, the Israeli...
Now, I'm pretty sure, as most of you have been watching what you're seeing, it is outright appalling. It's outrageous to see people act like that about killing people, about people dying. It's outrageous. Now they're saying that they've caught 20 suspects. 20 suspects, individuals who are suspected of taking part in the October 7th operation that was a major success on Israeli soil. Um, I have nothing but admiration for the individuals who carried out the October 7th operation. I have nothing but the sincerest gratitude and respect for these individuals. The courage that it took for them to do such a thing. It's it's just an enormous amount of courage that it took for them to not only infiltrate the Israeli fence or whatever may have you that was separating Israel from Palestine, but just the courage that it took, knowing very well that you might not make it back, knowing very well that what's to come would be outright devastating. Because I'm pretty sure that Hamas and those that were involved in this operation, they very well knew the nature of this enemy that they're dealing with. And so one can say, well, why did they do it? Instead of asking the question of why the enemy has the nature that it has, why is it so hell bent on death and destruction? Instead of asking that question, no, you'll refer to what happened on October 7th and use that as a catalyst as for why this situation is out of hand at this point. The geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports U.S. tells ICJ Israel should not be ordered to immediately end occupation. U.S. says World Court should not order the unconditional withdrawal of Israeli forces from the Palestinian territories. So now, you know, I keep saying the same thing as it relates to the United States of America. The United States of America is very complicit in what's happening in Palestine right now. So I want you to take note of this and understand what is being said. Because as per you and I, yours and mine's, the Constitution of the United States of America, I was reading the Second Amendment, and it actually, if you go in detail, it actually is consistent with the United States of America supporting a coup d'etat, a overthrowing of the government of sorts, when that government has become corrupt. And this is a question that I pose to you. However old you are, wherever you are in the United States of America, with the history that you know, past, present, with the history that you know about the United States of America, my question to you is, are our politicians, is our government, Congress, and all those who hold office, are they in breach? Are they in breach? This is a question that needs to be asked. Has corruption spread through Congress so much so that the American people have lost hope in any system that has been set up for justice? So now you take the situation with the International Court of Justice. The United States of America has a very awkward, well, I wouldn't say awkward. They have a very unique circumstance as it relates to their veto power. So you mean to tell me 10 nations, 20 nations, 30 nations can come to an agreement and say we want this, and one nation, one single nation, can say, you know what? No, we're not doing that. But you got 30 nations, 40 nations, 50 nations. How many nations to this one nation, and this one nation gets to dictate the natural order of things? How long do you think this will be able to be allowed? How long do you think the world will keep sitting back and allowing the United States to conduct itself in this manner before action is required? And so, a lot of people from around the world will look at the citizens of the United States of America and they will place blame on us. They will hold us, or at least want to hold us, accountable for the people that we put in positions of power that we did nothing to stop. And this is why I said we are going to have to meet up. We are going to have to mobilize, and we are going to have to take action. Now, what that action is, well, I guess we'll come to that agreement when we meet and we have a very open discussion about what's going on, not just in the world, but in the country that we call our home. And so I very well feel like there is there's a serious threat of civil war. I really feel like that because I am coming to an inflection point in my life where certain things that I'm seeing are intolerable to me. And I want to act on it, but I know very well where those actions are going to lead me. I'm intelligent enough to know where those actions are going to leave me, where they're going to lead me to. But the problem I'm having on the flip side is that my soul is not, it's not, I'm not at peace right now. My soul is being very disrupted from everything that I'm seeing and everything that I'm hearing in real time. Like I said, this is not the past. This is actually, and sadly, these things are a repeat of the past, but they are happening in the present in real time. And these things are plaguing my mind. It's disrupting my soul. And now I have to ask myself a question. What is it that you are supposed to do? What are you to do? Marching doesn't work. Talking never seems to work. It is only action that brings about some type of resolve or solution. And so that's where I'm kind of at in my mind as it relates to all of these things that are happening around the world at this point. Society seems to view these things as the norm, and that's disheartening as well. And what I mean by view these things as the norm, well, you don't very well see many people of prominent status in society speaking out about against these things. It's only the average citizens, the people who come from low income, poverty stricken. These are the people who actually care, because these are the people that very well know that it can be them. And so the people that, you know, are maybe celebrities or of prominent status or wealthy or whatever may have you, or in government positions or positions of power, they tend not to think about these things in the same light. They tend not to care. And we as a society, we haven't really taken notice to these things. Like I said, some of us are sitting at home Some of us go to work every day. Some of us are raising children. Some of us have families, whatever may have you. But some of us are astronomically more intelligent than the individuals that we put in a position of power to govern us. And that right there is a disservice. It's actually appalling when an individual can't even put his sentences together well enough to be able to convey information, let alone whether that information is false or not. But we've come to a sad place in this country and in a sad place in this world. And if you pay attention to the geopolitical events that's going on, you will see that a large percentage of the world is moving in one direction, meaning they are becoming allies with each other. And the United States of America and a few of its Western allies are starting to look like they're being pushed or backed into a corner. And so I very well don't know what to expect out of this situation. I've already considered this to be a kangaroo court. And the reason why I consider it to be a kangaroo court is because of the obvious. If you can't, it's almost like the situation years ago that happened with the LAPD and Rodney King. It's almost as if you can't see what's right before your eyes, and you will make a judgment that is non-reflective of what is reality, what is actually right there in front of you. And so this is the same thing that I see that will happen with the International Court of Justice. I see the same outcome. And so now you have the United States of America that is actually approving the occupation. But it should be no surprise for those of you that know American history, because they are the greatest occupiers. United States of America is the top occupiers of the world. So this is no surprise to me that they are actually backing Israel and requesting for the International Court of Justice not to end their occupation. All right, people, follow Street Icon on all social media platforms. That's at Street Icon 1 on the X platform, at Street Icon 8080 on the YouTube platform, and Street Icon on all other social media platforms. Also, to donate to the channel to see more content like this, you can Cash App Street Icon 1. That's Street Icon 1. Cash App Street Icon 1 for all donations to see more content like this. I got some merch coming for you guys. Drop a donation. Salute to you if you can. Salute to you if you can't. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this. Did you know about these stories? How specifically do they make you feel? Drop a comment in the comment section, and always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe. Peace.